culture of dignity and love. Rages to rise. We were once rich, now we are in rise. Rages to rise. Now we're kneeling.
Welcome to Reflections. My name is Patrick Tomlinson. I'm your host. And today I have the pleasure of having with me members of the New York chapter of the Wolmers Alumni Association. Today I have with me to my right a very long and faithful member, Paulette Willoughby. To my left, I have the pleasure of having Beverly Barr, and sitting beside Bev, who I'll take the liberty of calling Bev, is Victor Lyle. These are members of the Alumni Association, so I'll ask them to tell us a little bit about their time at Wolmer's. Tell us about Wolmer's, its history, and what it has done for them. So, Paulette, I wanted to start with you. Welcome, and thank you for taking the time out to come and share with us.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here, and if my memory serves me well, I will try my best. But Wolmer's Girls' School was the school referred to where these are the ladies. We were considered ladies. And throughout our time there, we had to behave as such. I have fond memories of going to school. School was not difficult in those days for us at Wolmer's. As a matter of fact, we didn't want to miss a day from going to school. There was always something going on. Our teachers there were more than teachers. They were like our mothers. They took care of us. They made sure that we were doing well and kept us on the right track. I have fond memories of Mrs. Gervon, our English teacher. Today I think of her all the time. And Mrs. Gervon meant more than a teacher to me. My mother and Mrs. Gervon were in school together. My mother was also a Wolmerian. Oh. And so that was a bond right there. And there is Miss Baxter, our science teacher. And she was another fantastic teacher. It was difficult not to learn with the teachers, all of them at Wolmer's. In every subject, they made sure that we were doing well, and they would take the time to make sure that we understand the subject. And it was like a motherly person with us. And of course, my form mates, my friends, we bonded. We took care of each other. We kept in touch with each other after school, and even in our adult lives, we still kept in touch. Now at Wolmer's, we didn't have field and track as they do today, because in my time we had Mrs. Kempton, and she felt it wasn't ladylike for us to be running tracks. Mm-hmm. So we were only allowed to play tennis, netball, and swimming. Not many girls did swimming. I had to go to the Immaculate Conception for swimming, but netball and tennis, yes. I was a shooter for the netball team, and I was in the hollow. So you know, it was good. We never complained, and we weren't jealous of the other schools, because we were who we were, you know, ladies.
Okay. So you pretty much enjoyed your time
So
there.
we enjoyed our time there.
Okay.
And of course, discipline. We had to. Its discipline was emphasized. We had to dress accordingly to the school rules. You know, we couldn't wear our socks too high. They had to be at the right length. Our shoes, our uniform, we wore berets at the time. And in that hot time, you know, we had to wear our berets.
Okay, so I wanted to move now to Bev,
Okay.
Beverly Barr, to tell us a little bit about your experiences, Bev, and what Wolmer's did for you. And maybe tell our audience what Wolmer's is.
Okay.
First of all, what Wolmer's is and what it has done for you.
Okay. Well, Wolmer's was a very good foundation for everything that has gone on since. As was mentioned before, and as our banner says, Wolmer's was founded in 1729 at the bequest of John Wolmer, a goldsmith who left money for the founding of a school for the children of freed slaves. And as far as I can see, it has done and continues to do an admirable job. My days at Wolmer's, I remember the school uniform. We wore white blouses and aqua skirts. And as Paulette said, we wore black shoes and white socks. And our skirts had to be below the knee, and everything had to be ironed and crisp, and our shoes were polished till we could see the reflection in them. I have very fond memories of several teachers at Wolmer's who inspired me to become an educator. My Spanish teacher, Miss Perez, taught us Spanish using Nat King Cole's albums, Nat King Cole Canta en Español, and taught us how to do the cha-cha-cha. Our Latin teacher, Miss Foster, who we called Fostris, because we had to conjugate her name, she taught us Latin, and Latin served me well in later years when I had to take all kinds of preparatory exams, because knowing Latin meant that I could always decipher the meaning of the word from the root or the prefix or the suffix. So that was very good. Then I had Mrs. Dunker, and she taught me history, and Miss Lumsden, geography. That inspired my love of travel. So to date, I've been to over 40 countries of the world. And then, last but not least, well, Miss Carrington, who was my English teacher, and Miss Hoylett. But Mrs. Mullings was our math teacher. And she had the reputation of being very stern and very evil. But I remember the year that we had to take senior Cambridge, Mrs. Mullins gave up her summer and invited us to come to summer school, where she tutored us in mathematics. First for screen tests and then for senior. And we all got either distinction 1, 2, or credit 3 in math, her entire class.
Very good.
Which was some fantastic achievement. So these are some of the memories I have of Wolmer's. And I tell you, to this day, even though I have members of my family, including my children, who have gone to Ivy League schools, I don't think that they have gotten a better education than I got at Wolmer's.
Wow, that says a lot for Wolmer's.
Yeah.
So, Victor, sir, you have the...
I was fortunate to get into Wolmer's.
Meaning what?
In those days, unless your parents were rich enough to send you, pay the school fees, we had to take an entrance examination. And fortunately for me, I passed that examination and got into Wolmer's. Not only that, both of my sisters went to Wolmer's. My days at Wolmer's, my teachers, they impressed upon us the importance of education. I learned to study at Wolmer's. I learned to discipline myself. That foundation that I got at Wolmer's has prepared me and made me the successful person that I am today. I cannot forget the good days, the wonderful days, walking around the Wolmer's in my short pants when everybody else had a pair of long pants. Walking home from school, walking to school, saving the money my father gave me for lunch. And fortunately, I had a friend who bought us lunch every day. So I saved that money. Bought a pair of shoes with that money. I also remember trying out for the track team. Unfortunately, I wasn't good enough, so I didn't make it. But my days at Wolmer's, they were the best. When I think of it, I have fond memories. Mm-hmm. Fond memories. It so happened that when I came to the United States, my sister introduced me to the Wolmers Alumni Association. And I joined the Alumni Association, trying to give back to my school in Wolmer's. And I've done that for many, many, many years. Mm-hmm. Many years. But here I am today. Look at me, a success in life. Thanks to Wolmer's. Right. Thanks to Wolmer's.
Okay, yes, right.
Very, very wise and admirable words. And I want to thank the panelists, members of the Wolmers Alumni Association turnout, and sharing their experiences with us. Thank you once. Thank you all.
Okay.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Riches to rise, 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 riches to rise. From the culture of dignity and love, riches to rise. We were once rich, now we are in rise, riches to rise. Now we need it. Riches to rise, 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 riches to rise. From the culture of dignity and love.
Welcome again to Reflections. With me is other members of the Wolmers Alumni Association. To my right is the president, current president Hubert Guscott. To my left is Marsha Richards, and to her left is Daniel Lindsay. Welcome everybody, and welcome to Reflections.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
And so, Hubert, I wanted you to take the time out to tell us a little bit about your time at Wolmer's, but your plans, upcoming plans.
Yeah, so thanks for having us.
Right.
And again, Hubert Guscott, I actually started out at Wolmer's in 1979. And similar to Victor, I was very fortunate to get into Wolmer's. I had to pass an exam. And I had fun memories of being at Wolmer's, particularly with the relationships that I had with my schoolmates. One being Daniel Lindsay. We were on the track team together. And as a matter of fact, when we came to the States, most of us as track team members became a part of the Alumni Association. So people like Vernon Steele and Trevor Pitter Then I was also into cadet. So Nigel Robinson, who was a friend of mine in cadet, he also joined the Alumni Association. And you'll find that over the years, we have kept those bonds together. You know, so Wolmer's was really, really a great experience. Now, as far as the Alumni Association is concerned, it was established in 1972. It's been strong for many years. We have a little dip now, but we're doing some restructuring. And, you know, a part of our motto is, you know, whatever you do, do to your best. And then we also have the sun shining over the clouds. So as much as there are clouds around, we are confident that our association will weather the storm and will be as strong as we were when we started in 1972. So some of the things that we do in terms of raising funds, because we pretty much exist so that we could give back to our alma mater. So we do the yearly mega raffle, which is coming up on March 28th. So if this show airs before then, hopefully folks will be able to support us. We also have the boat ride that is coming up in July. And we also have banquets, not necessarily every year, but certainly when we have important milestones. For example, last November, we celebrated our 290th anniversary, and it was really a stellar event. So without taking too much of the time, I like to pass it on to my colleagues here.
Okay. So, Marsha, tell us a little bit about your time at Wolmer's and what it did for you.
So I attended Wolmer's Girls from 1990 to 1997. And I say 1997, which is an extension of the 5 years that we normally attend, because I went to what we call upper school or sixth form. At sixth form, we had a co-ed environment, because, you know, we have a girls' school and we have a boys' school. In sixth form, we are combined. So we ended up interacting with the boys more than we would have interacted with them at any other period of time. And some of those friendships, yes, it was. Most of those friendships have been what has catapulted me into the Alumni Association, because we met Wolmer's boys, and Wolmer's boys, I think, are quite active, especially in the New York chapter of the Wolmer's Alumni Association. So when I migrated to the US, there was a yearning to find fellow Wolmerians. The 7 years I spent at Wolmer's Girls' School, and I tell everybody I can find, were some of the best years of my entire life.
Okay.
I have friends for 25 years. Friends that we have cried together. We have celebrated events, weddings, births of children, colleges, all of these events in our lives, and they all stem from Wolmer's Girls. So there's a yearning for me to give back, because I find that the school experience that we had is not the same as the school experience that we're seeing in Jamaica today. And the class of education we got at Wolmer's Girls' School, I believe it's still being continued, but I also feel there's a lacking. There's some, we're lacking the respect, we're lacking the camaraderie, we're lacking the level of education that we had before. And I feel that we all need to come together and find a way to extend our experiences to the younger generation, because I think they're missing out.
Okay. So there's work to be done.
There is work to be done. So the Wolmer's Alumni Association, to me, is an extension of my time at Wolmer's Girls, and also a way for me to give back.
Okay. Very good. So Danny, a good and old friend, and a pillar of the Wolmer's Alumni Association here in New York. Welcome. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and tell us, share with our audience, anything you'd like to share with them and to let them know.
Well, Patrick, thank you for having me on your program tonight. I had the good fortune of spending about 13 years at Wolmer's, because I loved it that much. I started out in the prep school, and I continued on to the high school. And my years at Wolmer's, I had a wonderful time. I had great teachers who tried to, and had I listened to them, I would probably be further on in life today, but at this point in time, I have no regrets. I had good teachers like Dr. Rod, who took time out to teach us math, and he also took time out to give us extra lessons at no cost to our parents, because he realized that education was the way for us to be successful, and most of his students became successful, are successful in life. I enjoyed Wolmer's also because it allowed me to be the person that I am. You know, it developed my leadership skills while I was there. And that's the reason why I'm here tonight, and I continue to serve Wolmer's, because I would like to ensure that the students who are there today are supported by those who benefited from the rich education that we received. And I'm also dedicated to the association because of one of my dearest friends who passed away, Jean Coke. Because before she left, she entrusted me to continue where and she was a very hard-working person in the organization. She did the pen relays, she was tireless. And because of her, today I still maintain that energy. You know, I do whatever I can to ensure that we continue to do the benefits for our school. The only thing that I have, you know, sadness about is that we don't have enough young people who are coming forward. And as time goes by, we need them also to give back to the school as we did. Because to me, it's an obligation that we all have. Yes, some of us might have, our parents might have paid for us to go to school, but in the meantime, we still have an obligation to our community and to ensure that our community becomes enriched by our benefits from the school that we attend in. And, I tried out a track later on in life, and, I had school success. I won't say much more, much more than that, and it is my intention to continue to support the efforts of this alumni association to ensure that, we continue to be a shining star in our community.
Okay. You wanted to say something?
Yes, I think
Marshall?
the misconception of an alumni association for most is a meeting of old people. We sit and we talk about old times. So I think the onus is on us to reach out to the younger generation so that they can understand that we're not just sitting around reminiscing about old times. We are putting in the work. We're supporting our fellow Wolmer'S. We're supporting the younger generation of Wolmer'S. We're involved in track and field. We're involved in cultural events. We're involved in the general diaspora. Things that are Jamaican, not only Wolmer'An issues,
Right.
but Jamaican issues. And I think that's
And
what
Caribbean too,
and
right?
Caribbean issues, yes. And because we're expats, we're in New York City, and we have a small community, but we also want to do great things in a small community.
Very good.
Good point.
Richie, I
Yeah.
want you to take maybe 1 to 2 minutes to tell us of, or reach out to those that are reluctant or have not participated to the level that you think that they should participate.
Yeah,
I wanted
actually,
to
that's a
try
good
to
point.
invite them
That's a good
and
point.
to tell them to get involved.
All right. So we have a membership in terms of our email of well over 100 people. And we notify folks concerning our meetings, which for the most part is the last Friday of every month, excluding the summer. And I know there are issues with people going from one borough to another, but we are willing. If you're in Brooklyn, the Bronx, Jersey, or Westchester, and
Or
you Connecticut, and you want to host a meeting, we will be there, because those 3 people who are just being interviewed before us, we are standing on their shoulders. They have not left this association alone. We need young people. Most of us are in track and field, about passing the baton. They're holding out the baton, and they're waiting for the young people to grab the baton. Again, we have a brand new website, fairly new, it's about 2 years old, where before they were talking about the website is not updated, they don't know this, they don't know that. The website is updated, current event. We need people to be members because our membership is dwindling, particularly officers. We're in our nomination period, so we hope that folks will step up. I mean, Wolmer's has such a fine tradition of really intelligent boys and girls, now men and women, that it's really sad that they can't step up to at least give a few hours per week or per month, just to give back to the Alumni Association. So we implore you, just plug in, and the more the merrier. You know, I mean, we're basically, in terms of our core membership, about 10 people. You know, we need to triple that. So we implore you to plug in.
Okay, very good, Richie. So, viewers, there you have it. Those of us out there in the audience who are sitting down, who have benefited from the school, we implore you to get involved, to reach out to the president or to Danny or to Marsh or any other, Beverly or Paulette or Victor, any other other members, and get involved. And for a school that has close to 300-year history, we have an excellent track record. And so I'd like to thank members of the Alumni Association for turning out tonight and sharing with us. Once again, this is Patrick Tomlinson from Reflections. See you again.
Riches to rise, 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 riches to rise. From the culture of dignity and love, riches to rise. We were once rich, now we are in rise, riches to rise. Now we kneeling.
We believe this new virus spreads mostly from person to person through respiratory droplets produced when someone who is sick coughs or sneezes. This is similar to how flu and other respiratory illnesses spread. These droplets can land in the mouth or nose of people nearby, or possibly be inhaled into the lungs. Most person-to-person spread happens when people are in close contact. It's also possible that this virus can spread when someone touches a contaminated surface and then touches the mouth, nose, or eyes.